Y'all talk about what you want your daughter to bring home when you ain't never brought yourself home the way you want your daughter to bring home. You never even set the tone or the example. But you want your daughter to bring home a superhero, Peter Parker, right? But you ain't, you the Joker.
Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Listen. Today, I'm ruffling feathers. Today, I'm being honest. Today, I'm telling the truth, right? We got to talk about it, guys. What is going on with this generation of men? We're going to talk about it today. Somebody going to get in their feelings, and I don't really care. One thing I like to do is I spread the love. Guys, if I could talk about my ladies, I damn sure could talk about you. Right? And it's ridiculous. Let's talk about it, man. And I'm allowed you guys to call in, and y'all can give y'all testimonies too. So what's going on with the men? We talk about our women a lot, but it's not a man or a woman thing on my show. It's about us being honest and exposing transparency of truth, right? Let's be true. I'm not gonna just talk about women and women and men. When I talk about the women, you men love me. But ladies, when I talk about the men, you guys love me. The whole concept is let's be able to hear both ways so we can grow. We can't grow if we getting in our feelings about the fact that things are going on. And like I said, I know for a fact I'm an alpha man, but I can tell the truth. There's a lot of things we need to step up. And notice I put me in that context with y'all. Even though I know I don't do the garbage, but I still stand with you. Because no matter what, my brothers, y'all still my brothers. And I'm going to stand with you. We got a lot of stepping up to do, right? There's a lot of men out here ain't raising their children. There's a lot of men out here who are still acting like little boys. There are a lot of men out here still living off women. There's a lot of men out here still living off mama. There are a lot of men who don't know the difference between being a mama's boy and taking care of their mama. There's a difference between being a mama's boy and taking care of your mama's man. It's a big difference. I take care of my mama, but I ain't no mama's boy. Right? We know the difference. Let's talk about it. Somebody call in right now, 516-253-1150. Once again, 516-253-1150. Listen, we know the difference between a mama's boy and a man that take care of his mama, right? It's two big different things. There's a lot of men out here nowadays that really are super codependent on women. And I don't respect it, right? I'm going to give y'all men a scenario, and I'm going to tell y'all the truth. A lot of the times, the men that complain about the fact that women aren't letting them lead is the fact of the matter is because these women do not see you as leaders, man, right? You're stepping into the front line, screaming at the top of your lungs, talking about I'm this alpha man, roaring with no action. Notice the word I say, you're roaring with no action. I'm a man, but you do nothing. Come on, man, we got to step our game up. I'm asking again, what's going on with this generation of men? These men are lazy. These men got excuses. We fighting against the women. Ladies, I'm going to go on record and say this. A woman could never be my enemy. I got bigger fish to fry. A woman is not my enemy. If a man is still sitting here worried about a woman being his enemy, clearly you haven't reached manhood, brother. A woman is not my enemy. I don't fight against women. I thought that was told to us since we was children. A man is not supposed to fight against a woman, and you're damn sure not supposed to put your hands on a woman. Ain't that true? For all those clowns that's hitting women, that's a laugh at you. We laughing at you. Don't put your hands on no woman. I was always told as a man, you don't fight against no woman. And for the men that's standing here fighting against women, it says a lot about you, right? We fighting our women. A real woman will submit to a man easily. Listen, ladies, stop getting defensive when you hear this word submit. Submission only means allowing to lead. That's all it means. Submission means allowing to lead. Anytime we hear this word submission, we automatically get defensive. Because a lot of these sick men out here believing that a woman is supposed to bow down to his every say-so. That is not submission, my brothers. That is a dictatorship. That is you trying to be like you're a king or something. That's sick. A woman should treat you like a king, but a man should also treat his woman like a queen. And I've never seen in a kingdom where a man, right, a man treats a woman like a peasant when she's his queen. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. So again, we need to reevaluate these words. Allowing to lead is submission. But men, you got to give the woman something that she sees as a leader. But yet we get defensive over everything. The society we live in today is all about fighting women, man. Come on, brothers. I always go on record and say this. A man will never be his greatest self chasing behind women. It's not designed for a man to chase women. Right? It's not designed for a man to chase women. And we're going to call it what it is. So many men are out here chasing women every single day, thinking that they're going to be their better selves. I'm going to tell you something. The reason why you don't want to go to work, my brother, is because you're spending too much energy on sustaining multiple relationships. Let me say that again. To my men. The reason why you're constantly tired because you're spending too much energy on pursuing multiple relationships. Nothing about you says success, but yet and still you believe your success is attached to having multiple women. But you believe that's success. You got the memo wrong, my brother. You got the memo wrong. I'm going to tell you something. When I see a man who has a happy woman and happy children in his household, I think that man has won. I think that man has won. Because the whole conversation that we don't have, the Bible says a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. The problem is too many men out here are cuffing little girls and they're getting mad at the fact that they're not getting results. See, the Bible again says a man that finds a wife, a girlfriend is not a wife. A baby mama is not a wife. There's a big difference. A slide, a jump off, whatever you want to call them, is not a wife. A man that finds a wife finds a good thing. We out here complaining about the fact that these women aren't this and these women aren't that. A real woman don't behave like that, and you ain't got to tell a real woman how to be. Just like you don't have to tell a real man. A woman don't tell me I have to pay bills. I know what I'm supposed to do because I've only been a man my whole life. And I understand the role of being a man. Understanding the role is leading, right? When a real man walks in a room, a woman knows. To my ladies on my live right now, when you see me, what do you see? Do you see a beta man or do you see an alpha man? I'm asking you. And I know my hated man gonna be like, beta, but put your girl in the room with me for about 10 minutes and see if she say that. You don't want to hear that though. We're trying to rectify our wrongs and fix our pores and these poor decisions that we making. I'm comfortable in my skin. And I think a real man has to learn how to be comfortable in his own skin. I can cry and still feel like the man that I am, right? I can shed tears in front of my woman and not fear me worrying about it because I'm going to tell you something. Man, if you're scared to show emotion in front of the woman you with, then you are clearly with a little girl. Because a woman understands that a man has feelings also. And the fact of the matter is you're not allowed to show your feelings in front of your woman is because you're not with a woman, you're with a child. Notice, little girls and little boys laugh at people when they have feelings, right? Imagine a high school or middle school setting or elementary school setting. Once a kid get hurt, the kids laugh, right? So if a grown woman is laughing at a person that got hurt or feeling something, that clearly says that she hasn't left her fetal stage. She's still a little girl. And men, if you're doing things for women and you're constantly throwing in her face, it says a lot about you. Either A, you should have never did it, or B, you're not in the position to do it. Because last time I checked, it ain't tricking if you got it. And a lot of men are tricking and they ain't got it. That's the problem. You crying about money you spent because you don't have it. So why are you trying to impress what you don't have? Why are you spending what you can't afford to lose? Because you caught in your feelings. You feel more accomplished by being next to a woman. I feel accomplished being next to my wallet. And why is that? Because a man is put on earth to achieve. A man is put on earth to conquer. A man is put on earth to leave his legacy and his mark. I'm going to tell you something. There's a reason why women leave their last names and take on your last name. Because you're supposed to be giving her something that she should be proud to stand next to. My last name is Brown. When a woman takes my last name, I want her to feel honored to have my last name. I want my daughters to hyphenate their last name because my last name means a lot. There's a lot of men on this live right now who don't understand where I'm going with this. I want my daughters to hyphenate their last name, Brown, whatever their husband's last name is. And I want her to be proud to carry my last name. When she speak of her father, she said, my father was a real man. My daddy was a real man. But a lot of y'all inferior. Y'all talk about what you want your daughter to bring home when you ain't never brought yourself home the way you want your daughter to bring home. You never even set the tone or the example. But you want your daughter to bring home a superhero. Peter Parker, right? Bruce Wayne, right? Clark Kent. But you the Joker. I'm gonna say this one more time. You want your daughter to bring home Bruce Wayne. You want your daughter to bring home Peter Parker. You want your daughter to bring home Clark Kent. Every time I turn around, you the whole Joker. Man, we gotta lead by example, my brothers. We gotta stop crying about our daughters being such when we're not realizing that we're not giving them no examples as men. Ladies, it is true that a woman teaches a woman how to be a woman. But it's every bit of true that a man teaches a daughter or a woman how she should be treated. When you see women who settling for less and allowing themselves to be treated as such, it's because they were never taught how to be treated. So sometimes we look at women and like, why is she allowing that? Because someone never showed her that she is worth more. I say this to my sisters. Y'all worth more. You're not worth a man walking all over you talking about that's love. You're not worth a man basically talking down on you because he's insecure about himself to belittle you to feel better about himself. And that's the society we live in. But if I say it, a lot of men gonna get in their feelings. But I'm gonna tell you something again. I don't give a damn. You're mad at the truth. There are tons of women who literally go through verbal abuse from men every single day. And there are women that do it also. But today ain't about the ladies. Today is what's up with the generation of these men. We're going to talk about these men today. You're going to get this work. You're going to get this work today. And you can get mad all you want. You're going to get this work. And I'm going to tell you something. My real men are going to sit on here right now and eat these words. Right? They're going to get this work. And I'm going to tell you something. This is a harsh reality. When you sit down and have conversations with men and women, I notice that men and women always point the finger. Let me ask y'all a question, and stay with me on this narrative. Who do they say is the most in their feelings? Who's the most emotional? Men or women? Who's more emotional? You say women? Who you say? Who you say? Everybody say women. I'm asking y'all the question. Who do you think is more emotional? Men or women? Somebody on my live answer this question. Who do you think is more emotional? Male or women? Now watch this though. Women. Women. Here's my dilemma. Women are naturally born more emotional. Nowadays, I can't tell a difference between men and women, how emotional these men are. These men are hypersensitive, always in their feelings. These girls ain't doing this and they ain't doing that. Cook for me. Pay some bills. If you got a woman who sees that you're financially really providing and you're holding it down, I think it's easier to get a woman to submit when you're doing your role as a man. Notice the word I used. I think it is easier for a woman to submit to a man when the man is doing his job. You guys want a pat on the back for doing things that men are supposed to do. You want a pat on your back or a participation award for participating in fatherhood. That's your job. That is your job. But you want a participation award for being a father. Man, I'm going to tell you something. I've gotten to the point that every single year I do not expect nothing from my children. You know when I tell my son every year what I want for Father's Day? He says, what? I said, I want grades, right? I want you to learn how to listen to me a little bit more. I want the things that money can't buy. I want discipline. Because I know in order for my son to be this man that the world gonna expect him to be, he's gonna have to every bit have learn discipline. An undisciplined man is one of the worst things a man could ever be. An undisciplined man will always make poor choices. An undisciplined man will run behind women, ultimately accommodate his insecurities. I've noticed that so many men run to women after women after women after women after women because they're insecure. I'm gonna tell you something, brother. I don't have time for chasing women. I don't have time for it. I'm a busy man. I'm pursuing my greater self. A lot of men need to take them crowns off their heads because they're not kings. It's a full-time job being this king thing. It's a full-time job being this king thing. And I'm gonna tell you something. It's one thing to crown yourself, but it's another thing when women look at you and want to put a crown on you and say, yes, king. You have to earn that role. That ain't something that you just wake up and just get. That's something you have to earn. Being a man is a full-time job. Being a father is a full-time job. Sacrificing to put your family in a better position. God made men more stronger physically for a reason, because you're supposed to labor more. There is a reason why you're so strong. Yet and still we look at the opposite. We look at the opposite, right? And this is the dilemma. This is the dilemma. A lot of men want participation awards for being men. I'm gonna tell you something. I find it real weak, right, for a man to believe that the ultimate prize of a woman is her vagina. I'm gonna tell you something, brothers, and if y'all don't understand this, y'all never gonna understand me. The ultimate prize of a woman, it is not her vagina. The ultimate prize of a woman is not her heart. The ultimate prize of a woman is her mind. Because if you can get a woman's mind, you can get anything you want. And that's a fact. I'm gonna tell you something. The heart plays tricks on us sometimes. And it make you love something that's not worthy of being loved. Let's be honest. I've loved people that didn't deserve my love. I'm gonna tell you something. If you can conquer a woman's mind, you can conquer anything with a woman. A woman will always submit to a man that she believes that got her mind. It's a big difference. Intimacy is nothing, but we overvalue it because we thinking as children. What is the difference between a young person and an adult? If you're still contemplating sex as the accomplishment, the biggest accomplishment of a woman is sex, you're still thinking like a little boy. You're still thinking like a little boy. Little boy. I mean, when we was younger, we would get into arguments and debates. You know what we'd say? As soon as we get mad, you say something to a man, you know what they say to you? I get more girls than you. And that's what these grown men still saying today. I get more girls than you. But you can't make your woman more happy than me. You can't put your family in a better position than me. These are the conversations we need to start having. These are the conversations we need to start having. But if I say this, a lot of men gonna get in their feelings, right? I just asked you a minute ago. Who are more in their feelings today? Men or women? And I'm gonna tell you something, ladies. I can understand why, because that's naturally how you're born. A man has to indoctrinate his mind into believing that being emotional all the time, that's a different type of creature. That's a completely different type of creature. That's an alien. Because that's not a man. A woman is naturally emotional. It's natural for a woman to be emotional. You take a man that's emotional, what do you have? And call yourself a leader To be a great leader, you have to have a resilience. You have to be able to control your emotions, your feelings, and make the most strategical answer or move to put your family in a better position. I'm gonna tell you something. You know the most disheartening thing I see is when I see brothers walking around here with the flyest clothes on and their children stuck up in the hood with nothing. Tell you something, brother. I want to cry. I want to cry because it frustrates me that you would leave your kids in a poverty-stricken area, but yet and still you're running around here fly chasing women. And somebody gonna get mad at this. I want you to hear this really well. One of the worst things I've ever seen in my life is a man disregard his child, meet a woman with a child, take care of her child better than his own child. What the hell is that? Let me say that one more time. The most disheartening thing I ever seen in my life is a man who disregards his own child, meet a woman with a child, and take care of her child better than his own child. What the hell is that? I gotta pause for a minute because I've seen this too many times. I'm gonna blow somebody up. We're gonna have to fight when he see me because he's gonna be mad. I'm gonna tell you something. Story. I know a guy, right? His name is, I'm not gonna say his name. He got a son named Junior, right? He doesn't take care of Junior. And I'm starting to see Junior misbehave because I'm gonna tell you something. As a guy that comes from a single mother, right? I had a lot of emotional distress. I lacked emotional maturity. I lacked self-control. I lacked discipline. And I lacked all these things because of the fact that I didn't have a man around me showing me how to be. I absorbed more feminine traits because of the fact that I was around more females. And the fact that I was around more females, everything bothered me when someone said something to me, right? And this is what happens to a lot of men that we're seeing in today's society. A lot of these men have absorbed so much femininity because they're around feminine energy. A man has to learn how to be a man around a man. Not a male, a man. There's a difference between a male and a man. If you're born with a penis, technically you are a male. But to earn that title of a man is a big difference. Ladies, you gotta stop putting these little boys in the same boxes with men. See, you putting their toys away and you putting everything away in different boxes. You got one box on the left side that says man, you got one that says boy, and you putting everything in the boy box. Look, he don't pay bills, you put it in the man box. That ain't no man. He borrows my car and don't put gas in it, and you put it in the man box. That ain't no man. And that's what you doing. You putting everything in the man box that ain't no man. Call him a boy. Call him a boy. But you're gonna put us all in the same box. And say, look at this little man. You men don't do. No, you little boys don't do. Change your vernacular. Change your speaking. Because I'm a grown man and I ain't doing half of the things you women say men do. And I know I ain't the only man on earth that's like that. And I'm going to tell you something. It bothers me when I see that women put me in a box with these little boys. I'm going to tell you, the Bible says, when I was a child, I behaved like a child. But when I became a man, I put away my childish ways. Put away my childish ways. And I challenge somebody on this live today to put away their challenge and their children and their childlike ways. I challenge somebody. Let's put away our childish ways. We get mad at what's going on in society, but we overly support it. We support garbage. Garbage. You're mad at the fact that these men don't know how to be men, but you're not pushing the men that can teach them how to be men. Men, get back in your sons' lives. Man, get back in your daughter's lives. Your daughter is going to be the little girl that might be promiscuous. Your son is going to be the little boy who's going to jail. And why is that? Statistics say this. This is factual statistics. 70% of the boys that are incarcerated come from single mothers. And a lot of the single mothers that we're talking about aren't only single mothers by choice. Some of them have men that don't give a damn about taking care of their kids. We will admit there are women that don't give a damn about the father having a relationship with their child. And I will admit that. But there are a lot of men who refuse to take care of their children. Meanwhile, it's a blessing in itself to have a child. You know the greatest feeling, I can have the worst day of my life, come home, and my daughter say, Daddy, I love you, and automatically my day done changed. My day done changed. Stressed out, aggravated, and frustrated. My daughter look at me and say, Daddy, I love you. Changed my whole day. We got to learn what's the biggest blessings in life. We got to understand who we are. We live in a world where we don't even understand ourselves. We too busy fighting the black and white battle. Let's fight the battle about parenting. Let's fight the battle about raising our children up. Let's fight that battle. I don't give a damn about no black-white battles. People get mad at me because I don't talk about it, because I don't care. I don't care. I'm not teaching my children to see black and white. I'm teaching my children to see green. Let me say that one more time. I'm not raising my children to see black or white. I'm raising my children to see green. And understand that America in itself is a business. And I'm going to teach them business because in order to survive in America, you need to know business. It is what it is. We get so caught up in all the wrong things. All the wrong things. I'm going to say this again. Ladies, you are not my enemy. I'm not at war with you. I'm comfortable in my skin. I know who I am. I'm the man that's going to shake things up and rock your world. Why? Because I'm going to teach you what a real man looks like. Even if I'm not physically in your life, you're going to have something to compare your man to. And you know that's what y'all do. So, man, step your game up. Stop getting defensive. If your woman say, I think you should do more, maybe you should do a little more. You want her to do all of these things? I'm going to tell you something. The sexiest meal is when a woman's happy. That's the best cooked meal I ever had in my life. Do you know that? The best meals you could ever have is from a happy woman. Right? No, we don't need to clone me. We need to push more people to understand. There are a lot of men that don't know how to be men. They don't exist. They incarcerated massively a lot of men that look like me. I learned how to be a man in there. Do you understand? They're making the women hate the men. They're making the men hate the women. And this is the truth. And it's working. Ladies, some of my brothers need prayer. Some of my brothers need your hand and pull them up. Ladies, God has created a lot of strong women. There are a lot of strong women. I've met some very strong sisters. And sisters, you might not need this alpha man because some of y'all are just a little too alpha. Some of y'all a little too alpha. You might have to be the leader. And that's what an alpha is. A leader. A leader. I'm going to say this on record again. A lot of men don't like when I say this, but I'm going to say this. There are alpha women who are made to be leaders. Based on the way they were raised, they know how to lead better than men. It's the truth. I know my mother's a great leader. And then when I became the alpha, my mother was willing to relinquish her role to me and allow me to lead. Because I lead by example. I never in my life believed that my mother could allow a man to lead until I met myself and realized she allowed me to lead. I'm going to tell y'all something. Stop fighting with these women to lower their standards and fight with being better men. A lot of us always fight with the women lowering their standards. And the standards, as long as they're in realistic. Some women talk crazy. I'm going to say it true. Some women definitely talk crazy. Realistically. It is in a woman's nature to expect a man to provide. It is not abnormal to want a man to provide for you women. It's not abnormal. The only man that has abnormalized that is the man that don't want to work and pay bills. Any man that understands how does a man lead is with provision. If a woman is not feeling that provision, or at least you pushing yourself to the best of your ability, she will never trust you. Women aren't stupid. A woman can have wholehearted sex with you, tell you how much she loves you, call you daddy, and afterwards realize that you are not daddy afterwards. I'm gonna say that again. A woman could have sex with you, tell you everything you want to hear, right? During sex, you daddy. I'm gonna let you lead daddy. After sex is over, that woman go right back to not letting you lead. You got her twisted. She ain't stupid. She ain't dumb. And you mad that she ain't dumb. That's the problem. You're mad that she ain't dumb. She ain't stupid. Ladies ain't dumb. They're emotional, but they ain't stupid. No, buddy. They'll catch you with it. A woman, a woman will have intimacy with you and call you everything in the world. But after the sex is over, she like, get out of here, clown. And you mad that she sees you as such, but you don't see that you should work on yourself. It's not that you got my woman ain't willing to submit. You got a good woman. You just ain't alpha enough or man enough to control yourself, to be a better man. Control your emotions, man. Control your emotions, King. I told y'all before the other day, I got into an argument with a young guy. And I said to him, I don't fear what I can do to you. I fear what God's going to do to me for what I'm going to do to you. And the reason why I said that is because of the fact that I understand as a man I have to learn how to control my emotions. There are a lot of men who are incarcerated right now for moments where they couldn't control themselves. They couldn't control themselves. Made a poor decision. I'm going to tell you something. The toughest guy is not the guy that can fight. The toughest guy is the one that can actually control his emotions. Let me say that one more time. The toughest man is not the man that can fight. The toughest man is the man that can control his emotions. Learn the difference. We say the toughest man is the man that'll fight the world, but won't fight a goddamn bill. He'll fight the whole world, but won't fight a goddamn bill. Damn. Ladies and gentlemen, what world we living in? This is the new generation. And I refuse to subscribe to this prescription that y'all giving me called madness. Real men hold their weight up and they hold themselves to a standard. Real men hold themselves accountable. I'm going to tell you something. Another thing I find very nasty is men will tell a woman that they love them and they want to be with them, ultimately bringing out her crazy side. I'm going to tell you something. Every woman, when they fall in love, they become crazy. Let's just call it what it is. Ladies, let's tell the truth. If you agree with me, agree with me. When women fall in love, they become crazy. And I'm going to tell you why they become crazy. Women become crazy because they love wholeheartedly. A woman that's in love will love you to the next level or dimensions that you could ever get to. I have never met love until I started dealing with women. Women love different, right? My mom is the greatest love I've ever had in my life. My mom's love is so pure, so rich, so true, so honest. My mom, you want to know how you know a mother's love is different? Let me tell you how. Anytime you meet a correctional officer or a cop that works in a prison, ask them, the only person that will come to visit a son in prison is either a grandmother or a mother. Ask anybody and they're going to say, that's a fact. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. That's how much. A mother will still find it in her heart to love her son even though when she know he's wrong. Dads, we're going to hold you a little harder. We're going to speak to you a little different. But a mother will still love her baby no matter what. And that's a fact. But we get so caught up in our feelings. Ladies and gentlemen, when someone says something that you may not like, you automatically go on a defense. The world is not about being defensive. The world is about being a student. How can you learn when you're not willing to hear? How can you hear when you're not willing to listen? How can you understand when you're not willing to study or learn? It takes discipline to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. In order to be a better person, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You got to hear the things you need to hear. Open your ears. 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We use the mouth more than we use our ears. This is the dilemma. We so caught up in how we feel. And that's what I keep telling the man. What makes a man strong is when he can control something called feelings. You got to control your feelings. You got to control your emotions. You got to be able to say, this is wrong and I'm going to stand to how I feel. A man don't sit there 20 minutes and argue with no woman, just so you know that. There are a lot of men right now who will sit there for 45 minutes and argue with a woman. I'm going to tell you something, my brother. That makes you weak. Because if a woman can take you out of your character, it says more about you than it says about her. A woman's gift is her mouth. Everyone knows that. And what makes a man sane is when he can control his emotions. If a woman knows she can take you to that level, she's going to take you to that level. Because that's her gift. And that's what she has. Right? And this is what we must understand. When we have these conversations, we get defensive. Men want me to talk about women and women want me to talk about men. But today, men, you're going to get that work. You're going to get that work. Right? Someone call in right now, 516-253-1150. One more time, 516-253-1150. Someone said, is this on YouTube? Yes, it is. It's under Empower Dynasty. If anyone trying to tap into the podcast, it's called Don't Let That Go Over Your Head on every major streaming server right now, right? Someone call in right now, 516-253-1150. I want to call, let's talk about this, right? And this is what we talking about. Men, it's not that when another man says something, I'm going to tell you something. The man reaches the maturation process or the mature process when he's able to take constructive criticism and not take it as offense. Notice, if you go to a woman and tell her about herself, what do? They get defensive, right? If I go to a man and tell him about himself and he get defensive, who's different? Let me say that again. If I go to a woman and I tell her about herself, she's going to get defensive because women are emotional. But if I go to a man and I tell him about himself and he gets mad, it says volumes, man. We got to step our game up. We got to get out of our little insecurities. We got to get out of our feelings, baby. Feelings. Someone call in right now, 516-253-1150. We want to talk about this. Tell me something that you see that's going on in society with these men today. We're going to talk about it. And the reason why we're going to talk about it, in order to change, we must talk. We got to raise awareness. But hiding the truth does not make it right. By hiding the truth, he's not making it right. Let me say this one more time. Just because you hide the truth, don't make it right. All you're doing is putting a blindfold over the truth. And I see the obvious. The obvious is that we are very insecure men. A man that has to attach himself to multiple women says volumes about him. You can't even sustain economically one household, but you're trying to take on two. So that means somebody's being deprived economically. Somebody ain't getting a fair end. Look at the narrative. You live in a house that you're barely struggling with a woman, and you're running to another house. How can that even make sense? Right? How can that make sense? And this is the narrative. But that's what we do. We feel more comfortable running to another situation opposed to either A, leaving that situation, or B, fixing the situation. But I'm going to tell you something, man. No one can fix you but you. No one can fix you but you. We talk about these ladies. These men love it when we talk about these women. There are women out here that don't take care of their children good. There are men out here right now that are better fathers than mothers. There are some men out here that are. And I'm going to be honest. And if you're in denial if you say otherwise. There are women out here right now living their second childhood. But there's so are men. They're living their second childhood. We must grow up. The other day I had a conversation with a guy about 40-something years old. And man, I must ask this. How do you expect someone in the world to take you serious when your pants is off your behind? How do you expect someone in the world to take you serious when your pants is off your behind? Let me go further. If your social climate don't change, your economical climate will never change. Man, in order to get to next levels in life, you have to be invited to these spaces. But these people will never invite you to these spaces because you don't belong in them spaces. You don't even know how to carry yourself. Your pants is off your ass and every other word is a curse. But you still want to come in those settings. You want these people to take you serious. I doubt that's going to happen. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you don't take yourself serious, the world won't take you serious. Right? You want to be counted in, but you counting yourself out by the way you act. It's a behavioral thing. Man, we must learn to lead by example. And I hate to say this, and yeah, the mother is the giver of life, but everything starts with the man. Everything starts with the man. Because I'm gonna tell you something. The man is so strong that you can look at statistics. It states that a single father has a high percentage of raising a child than a single mother. Not only does he have a higher percentage, the percentage is almost equivalent to a father and a mother that's in the household together. A single father has that much power. That much power. Because most cases, when a father is a single father, he is every bit of an amazing father. And this is what we lack. I raised my son for years by myself. And I became such a great father by being around my son religiously. I learned how to be a dad, right? When I look at a birth certificate, it says mother and it says father. But to learn how to be a dad, that's another role. I learned how to be a dad. I know the value of dads. I know the value. I didn't grow up with one. My birth certificate next to father's is blank. There's nothing. So I understand the value of a father and a dad. I had extra hyperaggression. Why? Insecurities. And this is what we're going through right now. My brothers, I'm going to say this on live. As much as I can kick you, I can build you up too. We got to learn to understand that you ain't weak because you feel. And I'm going to say this on record. To my brothers on my live right now, you are not weak because you feel, right? You're not weak because you have emotional distress. You're not a punk, right? The coward is the one that runs away and never fights. That's a coward. When I grew up, if you lost a fight, you weren't a punk because you fought back. You were a punk because you ran. The coward is not the coward that stand there and fight for his children, even though he don't have the money, he's still there fighting. That is not a coward. That is a man. The man is not broke because he stand there and pays all his bills. That's not a broke man. That's a man. We need to change these narratives. There's a lot of things that's been taught to us wrong. Wrong. A broke man is not a broke man because he paid all his bills. And that's how this country's designed. Giving you enough just to keep you coming back. A job. J-O-B stands for just over broke. That's what it is. But the icing into that man's cake is supposed to be the woman that he puts next to him. That man's cake ain't sweet because he ain't had no icing in, meaning the woman's supposed to add that sweetness to that cake. He built the cake. The cake looks amazing. And everyone knows the finishing touch is the woman. So a lot of the times, these men that you're talking bad about, sometimes you gotta meet these women. Man, we're attaching ourselves to the wrong women. We put little girls in the same context as a woman. Little girls expect you to take care of them. Ladies, there's a difference between being a wife and a girlfriend. Some girls will always be a girlfriend because of the fact that they do not understand how it is to be a wife. A wife do not pull her husband down when things are not going the way they want. They fight together. They fight together. That's a couple. That's a marriage. That's the difference between a wifey or a girlfriend. Ladies, we accepted this role. Wifey. Ain't nothing. I don't know who told you that my daughter's not going to be somebody's wifey. My daughter's going to be somebody's wife. My daughter ain't going to be somebody's baby mama. He's going to be somebody's child's mother. But if I talk like that, we're going to get mad. And I don't fault the women that already made those decisions. So a lot of y'all may not have known better. You didn't know your value. You didn't know your value. You didn't understand who you are today. And it's okay. Because one thing about life is you live and you learn. You grow from every experience. And don't keep kicking your own self. We make mistakes. We're all human. It's a part of life. The problem is when you can't accept the fact that you've made poor choices and you don't see that you're constantly still making poor choices. A mistake is not a continuous behavior. Let me say this again. A mistake is not a continuous behavior. A continuous behavior is not a mistake. That's a decision. We don't know the difference. We'll do the most poorest things and say, I made a mistake. It's not a mistake. We must learn the difference. Someone call it right now, 516 253 1150. One more time, 516 253 1150. Let's talk about it. 516 253 1150. I know somebody in my live need to call in right now. Add something to this recipe because we cooking right now. Let's talk about it. 516 253 1150. Someone call in right now. You know, we have these conversations. I created this podcast with my guys because I wanted to push positivity. I got tired of the negativity, right? I got tired of the negativity. I got tired of hearing the nonsense, right? We're going to answer this call right now. Caller, what's going on, caller?
Yes. Hi. How are you? How are you?
How you doing, my sister? What's going on? Who am I speaking to?
I am wonderful. Thanks. My name is Ebony.
Ebony, what's going on?
Hey, I was calling because you touched on so many points. Like seriously,
Okay.
you didn't leave nothing out, and I truly appreciate that. My biggest thing that I just wanted to reach out was because yes, when you have a single mother, or just to say you guys divorced or whatever the case may be, and you have your children, when one parent manipulates the other parent, the children, that messes up a lot. It really do, because I'm going through that now with my two, my son and my daughter. So unfortunately, my son, he's a teenager and he's going the wrong way. His dad does not want to discipline him or really have that whole say of what it is that he's doing or what have you, because he feels that they're going to have a fight. So he don't even, address any of the issues that I have with him currently. So he's going down the wrong line, and I'm afraid of that. I'm at this point where I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm.
When you and the father communicate, how do y'all communicate?
We really don't, to be honest with you, the way that we should, because unfortunately the immaturity is there. I've moved on. I'm actually remarried.
Yes.
And it's not a bad relationship. I can't mess with them. I can't. So when I try to reach out concerning the kids, it's like, nah, I'll do it this way. If you do speak to him, just talk to him. That's that.
So my question is, have you ever had your son do counseling or therapy?
I didn't, but I tried to go different routes as far as, his athletic abilities and keeping him around positive men, role models, which one is my husband, but he's just not listening. So it is getting to that point where we do need to go ahead and get counseling. But honestly speaking, the counseling that they offer, I'm in Georgia now, I'm from New York,
okay,
but the counseling that they answering that they have here is not for us. I need somebody like you. I always listen to your stuff. I actually reached out to you. Yeah, no problem. And your words is really encouraging. So I'm like, honestly speaking, how do I get in contact with you? Do I need to pay you something to help me out? Because you speak, a lot of things that I need for my son. Somebody to really put it down like that. In the South is different from New York. You got, people who's more real and stuff like that and who've been through things. Here in the suburbs, it's like,
Yeah. You know what it is though, when you have these conversations, right? I feel like we're so busy playing Halloween that a lot of us forget who we really are. Me, I'm very transparent. I'm transparent because I'm comfortable with who I am today, right? Me personally, I would love to talk to your son. I would love to. DM me on my Instagram and we could set something up. But I definitely would love to talk to your son.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is the most disheartening thing I think that we have with raising our children is sometimes when we're dealing with young people, they try to take on grown-up problems and ultimately act out because of it, right? So you have a young guy who may be upset or whatever may transpire between his parents, but has nothing to do with him, right?
Right.
Let's thank God that your mother was able to find somebody else to love her, right?
Amen.
Because he didn't meet that maturation process. And we have to admit, boys mature a lot slower than girls.
Yeah.
So me personally, I would love to talk to him, right? Sports is a beautiful thing. But I'm going to tell you something. The one thing that will hinder a person, if you can have the best ability at sports, but you don't have the mind, that's a dead body.
That's right.
That's a dead body.
It's true. It's true.
We got to build up his mind, build up his confidence, and let him understand that this is a part of life. And whatever he may be going through, I want him to be able to express himself. right? Sometimes
Yes.
you being
Yes.
his mom and him being his dad, it might be too close. Sometimes it takes a
Mm,
stranger for them to hear you. Like they hear strangers sometimes
right.
better, and that's just humans,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I think we should say
Right.
something about
Right.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Okay. Okay. I definitely appreciate that.
DM me
I
on
will go
Instagram
ahead
and
and
tell me who this is and write it, and I'm gonna get in contact with you.
okay. Okay, will do. Thank you so
I
much for
thank you. I
taking my
appreciate
call.
you.
And
Come on,
again,
no,
I
no, I
love
appreciate you.
everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
We got to ask this question. What is the podcast course? If you know, what is the name of the podcast?
I don't have the
Say it.
podcast. I was the
Don't
one who asked for
let
your
that
YouTube.
go over your head.
Okay.
That's what
Yes.
it's called. Don't let
Don't
that
let
go.
that go over your head.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you too, my sister. Listen, guys, that's a beautiful thing. Like her son could be going through something right now, right? Emotional maturity comes with time and experience. So sometimes the fact that he lacks emotional maturity, this is why he could be behaving like that. And it's not that the mom is a problem. It could be not the dad is a problem, but it could be his emotional maturity. And sometimes we don't talk about these things. It could be the fact that he's trying to take on grown-up problems. So he feels like by acting out, he being grown. But in reality, he's going to hurt himself in the end. So we got to get this young boy and this young man help, right? But someone else calling right now, 516-253-1150. 516-253-1150. See, we talk about these things that really matter. We're in a world right now where everybody is trying to hide who they really are. I'm not ashamed, right? I'm going to take his next caller. Caller, what's going on, caller?
Hello, how are you?
How you doing, caller? Who am I speaking to?
My name is Roxy.
How you doing, Roxy?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to say you are doing an amazing job. I feel super blessed when I'm able to catch your live because oftentimes I don't. But I just want to touch bases on what you said about women being crazy when they're in love. I feel like in the Black community, not enough men take accountability for what they do.
Agreed.
For example, I was with someone for 6 years. He continued to tell me I was his girl. I was his girl. This man had a baby on me, kept denying it. I dreamt of it, and I kept saying, I know about this baby.
Yes.
Then he proceeded to, when I'm asking, like, well, what are we going to do moving forward? I hurt myself, never taking accountability. For men in their 40s and 50s to take away a woman's choice, if you're not ready for a good woman, leave her alone. Don't be out here damaging good women. Like, I'm a mom of 4 boys, and when I tell you, any man I get with, I love him like I want a woman to love my son. I feel like as Black women, we're the only race of women that feel we have to go through struggle love to not be alone. That we feel like we cannot be loved properly. We have to love a man through the ups and downs and highs and lows, and we don't get that in return. We don't get that love, that forgiveness. We do one wrong thing and it's on to the next woman, and it is so hurtful. So as a boy mom, I just became a grandmother. I'm 36.
Congratulations.
What can I do and teach my son? My boys never had their fathers in their life. And for people to say a single mom can't raise a good man, that's absolutely false. My son is 18 and more of a man than I've seen a lot of men, not only in my family, but community. But I just want to know what else can I teach my son so that he knows accountability and, just being a good father to his daughter.
Now, you respect my words, right?
Absolutely.
I come from a single mother of 6, right? And the one thing about my mom never dated us. My mom checked us when we were wrong and loved us when we needed to be loved. My mom gave us an equal, fair balance. My mom would knock you upside your head and kiss you on your forehead. My mom showed us that a man is supposed to be accountable. Accountability is taught. You have to teach accountability. When a person is wrong, you got to check them. See, the problem is sometimes we save the young men too many times to the point where they're always looking for a savior. My mom said years ago, if you go to jail, just know you're going to be staying in there. She meant it. My mom said, if you waste your money, you're going to be broke for the week. She meant it. My mom said, if you travel somewhere and you can't get back home, you better figure it out. That's how my mom did, because she knew the world was going to hold me to those same standards. She couldn't save me forever, so she knew that in order for me to teach you how to be a man, I'm going to let you fail. See, sometimes when we fell down, in reality, we're failing up. because you're learning from your experience. As long as the experience is something that can be fixed, I can understand sometimes mommy got to be mommy, right? But there's sometimes when
Right.
mommy got to know when not to be mommy, allow the world to be daddy. Sometimes our kids got to go through it, and it's just what it is. But the best way to be a good mom is knowing that you're doing the right thing, even when they complaining or crying about the fact that you should do. No, I'm gonna stand to my. I gotta stand firm. But sometimes when mothers don't have the dads around, they overcompensate, and it ultimately teach the kid
Absolutely.
lack of accountability. That's what happens. But mom, it's not your fault that their dad is not there. And let me say this as your brother: it's not your fault because it takes two to make children.
Hmm.
And if he chooses not to be in his children's life, you can only be the mother. And by being the mother,
That's right.
you gotta relinquish some of your femininity. You gotta be a little bit more masculine on them. It is what it is. You gotta show them too. My mom did a hell of a job because she held us accountable all the time. I couldn't get a break. If she said if your room wasn't clean, you wasn't going out, we weren't allowed outside. And she didn't give us threats. See, some women they give a lot of threats, but they don't act on their threats. So what happens is, you know what us boys do? I'm gonna tell you the truth. Oh, that's just mom being mom. And you don't want to be, it's just mom being mom. You want to be, if mom said it, mom meant it. That's the difference of men parenting and women parenting. We don't talk 15 times about the same thing over and over and over. Women do that.
And you know what? I struggle with that balance because I was raised by my grandfather, who was a single dad. He raised my mom and he raised my mom's children.
Yes.
So seeing it from a single father's perspective was totally different becoming a woman because I felt like I was more masculine of a woman. Like even to this day, so even dating, I always am the leader and take initiative with bills, finances, because that's what I saw my father do, lead.
Yes.
My mom is the same way, but just teaching my boys that balance between femininity and masculinity,
Yes.
it is a struggle for
It
me.
it is.
Struggle.
There's not enough examples, and let's just call it what it is, right? And a lot of the men that pose, and that's what I'm gonna say. The truth is, a lot of people pose to be what they're not, right? You have a lot of men posing as alpha with aggression, right? We're rather leading, and it's hard. So the thing is, like, the one thing I always tell my mom, the one thing I love that she used to do with us, she always sat us down and she used to say stuff like, I'm gonna drive to the nicer neighborhood and take us to the laundromat. And I used to be like, why are we going to the nice neighborhood? We live right over here. And my mom used to do that to give us exposure because the whole concept of life, exposure leads to expansion. In order for our children's minds to be exposed, we got to expand it by being around things and teaching them and showing them things, giving them different experiences. It don't have to be money related, right? As simply as teaching them who they are. The museum, showing them that you're a strong man, you're a strong black man, and be proud of who you are. Because a lot of people are very insecure to who they are, so they hide who they are, and they ultimately become who the world want them to be, and not who they are. And the fight becomes the fact that they're hiding who they really are. This is why we have so many people who are unhappy because they're not being themselves. We got to raise our children to be happy being who they are and love who they see. And that's how you start building up their self-confidence.
That's so true. Well, thank you so much for the advice.
Sister,
I'm truly enjoying this live today.
I appreciate you so much.
Mhm.
Guys, this is what we do. We have to understand, a lot of men behave such because they're insecure, right? And we got to learn that in order to adjust or to be, you have to learn how to be. There are tons of people in this world right now that don't realize that life is short. We got to make the right decisions. Men, let's start fathering our children. Ladies, let's start loving on our men. Don't get me wrong, I understand there are a lot of broken men. There are a lot of broken men. And she said a valid point. Why do so many women have to go through so much struggle with men in order to get some kind of anything from a man? It's bad the way we love. We love. But that starts at home, right? The way you love is the way you're taught. I've never met someone who just wakes up and know how to love if they weren't taught love. I've never met someone who didn't learn racism by being taught racism, right? It's just what it is. Every good woman I've ever met, in most cases, come from learning how to be a good woman. Every good man I've ever met by some way will learn how to be a good man by somebody. I've learned how to be a good man by being around people. We got to teach it. I suggest sometimes we sit down and we start watching things with our children, right? And start showing them what a man looks like, exposing the mind. If it's not physically traveling somewhere, it could at least be visual, right? Seeing it, explaining it to them why you don't do that. Teaching the person, like, if you was in this scenario, how would you feel? Because I hate to say this, and I'm going to be honest. There are a lot of men that do things to women that they would never want the woman to do to them. Let me say that one more time. There are a lot of men. Let me say this one more time, guys. And let's be fair. There are a lot of men who do things to women that they would never want them to ever do to them. This is the social bias. Sometimes when we talk about our women, right? In a lot of cases, there are two types of women on earth. One of the women that I've ever met that's crazy is the women that come crazy. The craziest woman I have ever met in my life is the woman I've made crazy. And I'm gonna be honest. I've made women crazy because I didn't know who I was. I didn't love who I was. So I ultimately made other people not want to love themselves. Broken people break other people. Hurt people hurt people. And being hurt, that was my mission, to hurt others. When you learn to love yourself, you don't want to see people in pain. When you learn to love yourself, you want to push people to become their better selves. When you love yourself, you start talking positive in the universe. You don't talk negative anymore. Some people get mad at me is because I always find good in everything. And ladies, we got to find good in each other. Men, we got to find good in each other. And I'm going to say this before I get out of here today. Ladies, if God is your father and God is my father, that makes you my spiritual sister. Men, if God is your father and God is my father, that makes you my spiritual brother. What father will give us or take care of us or bless us when we keep hurting each other? I don't know no father that would do that. In order for us to grow, we must learn to respect each other and build with each other. We got to stop fighting against each other because the war is not about men and women. The war is in parenting and raising our children to be greater people. We got to stop fighting each other. I'll say this again to my ladies. I do not see you as my enemy. Let me answer this last call. Caller, what's going on, caller? Caller.
Hi, I was listening to your podcast.
How you doing? How you doing? Who am I speaking to?
Hi, I'm China. I'm Tina.
What's going on? How are you?
I'm okay. A lot of the stuff is really resonating. I have 5 kids, and I don't really talk to the baby, the fathers, the
Oh,
children's fathers.
okay.
Um, but I was just listening to everything that you're saying, and I just want to say thank you for you know, um, giving out that the knowledge and the awareness on how to really take accountability
Yes.
and how to be better communicators.
Yes.
Because ultimately the ones that suffer the most are the children. So
Always.
I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you. I'm glad that there's still, men out here with your type of thinking, and um, you know, I really appreciate that.
I appreciate that. You know, I want to say something to you too. My sister, if no man tells you today, I want you to know I love you. And the reason why I say I love you because I know that you're my sister. And and raise these babies to be their best selves that you could possibly do by being the best version of yourself. Right? And I just want you to know I love the fact that you called in and talk about this word accountability. We gotta learn how to be accountable. And I want to thank you for being accountable for yourself. And understand it's not about us, it's bigger than us. And the children, we want to raise good people and we gotta lead by example. You know?
Yes,
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
yes.
Guys, We live in a world right now where our babies is suffering. Man, we got to step our games up. We got to step our games up. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not a father just to my children. I'm a father to the world. And I think every man on earth should see that. The YouTube channel is Empowered, EMPOWERD. Somebody write that. Empowered Dynasty on YouTube. Empowered Dynasty. The YouTube channel is Empowered Dynasty. If anybody want to check the podcast and keep up with this podcast, the podcast is on every major platform. It's called Don't Let That Go Over Your Head. Don't miss the message. To all my people today that tuned in, I want you to know I love you. I appreciate you. To God, I give all the glory. Let's love on our brothers. Let's love on our sisters. Until next time, guys, don't let that go over your head.